What's going on, guys? Welcome back here to the channel for another Hot Toys review video. And we have another Star Wars hot toy, as you can see here, and this is the Obi-Wan Kenobi from Revenge of the Sith. If you caught the review from last week, I did the Revenge of the Sith Anakin Skywalker Dark Side figure. Very happy and very fortunate to get that piece at retail price for the most part. So that's great. So this, I kind of made a teaser last week that said maybe, just maybe here soon, I would be able to kind of complete, at least complete in what I want to do, the little Revenge of the Sith collection there, being just having this Obi-Wan and then the dark side Anakin. I don't really need to get the light side Anakin because the dark side one is pretty much the same thing with a different head sculpt and a different base for the most part. And I'm already going to be getting the Clone Wars Anakin. It's pretty much, that's going to be my light side Anakin. I don't really need the light side one from Revenge of the Sith by any means. So, but without any further ado, this is the Obi-Wan review. This is what everybody's here for. So let's get this thing down and out, off the turntable. Take a look at this thing, take a look at all the accessories, and then get on with this review. All right, so here we are, guys. Let's go ahead and get things started with taking a look at the box and then seeing everything it comes with. Then we'll get out all the accessories and take a closer look at the figure himself. So starting off, as always, the classic black and gray Star Wars themed box, but with the kind of the later edition of the movie masterpiece little strip here that they add on here. So you have Obi-Wan Kenobi deluxe edition, picture of the figure. That's always good. The little sticker there indicating this is the deluxe version, as if the size of the box didn't really give it away. Another picture of the figure there. You also have one on the side, and then just the name over here, and on the back your usual credits and everything like that. Once you open up the box, you do have your little art print, which it's a good looking art print. Again, they got a lot of different scenes there from depicting the film itself. You got the hollow table there that does come with the deluxe edition, the classic pose there that, I mean, I suppose I have him in myself really here, and you'll see that later in the post section of the video. And them there towards the end of the film holding little baby Luke. It's a nice little print, and the good thing to note here is that it's all pictures of the figures, or not renders or anything like that. Then the first thing you see here, you got your hands. You got all those, your different accessories there. Typical Star Wars stuff there. That's probably my favorite one that they included. I'm really happy they included that one, obviously. And then you got your little hand for the hollow recorder and all that stuff. And then your lightsaber arm, open hands, etc. Then, obviously, here are all the goods. So first things first, got your blade there that just kind of haphazardly sits there. So it just kind of, as you saw, just kind of falls immediately. But here's our first look at the figure here. And again, I mean, first impressions with this guy, he looks really good. I love the body that they chose for him. I think he scales really well with Anakin and Qui-Gon. So you'll see, I will bring him out with Anakin since he kind of pairs with Anakin more so than Qui-Gon, given the time period, right? We've kind of already lost Qui-Gon at this point, so rest in peace there, buddy. But yeah, he looks great. He's a fairly light figure. They chose a fairly lightweight body. The joints are pretty easy to move. The material for everything is really done. They did do some interesting choices with this figure as far as the Jedi robe itself, and then the Jedi garbs, the tunic and everything. That is a little bit different than the other Jedi or Sith figures that I have, but we'll get more into that later on in the review. But yeah, the head sculpt looks great. First things first there, it has a great likeness to Obi-Wan Kenobi. But again, we will take a closer look at this later on in the video here. Then you have your regular lightsaber hilt. You have the accessories here. And then underneath you have the additional accessories right down there, which is the destroyed battle droid and the little phone thing that they had in there, and then the hollow table itself. So this buddy, he comes with a lot of stuff, the stand and everything. So let me get everything out here. We'll get it all out laid out on the table, and then we will take a closer look at everything he comes with. Okay, so yeah, right off the bat here, guys, you can see this guy comes with a lot of stuff. Like, he legitimately does. Now, the question is, does he come with stuff that, like, I necessarily think was necessary itself, or I guess a better way to put it, where there's some things that I'd rather have gotten as opposed to some other things. That answer is yes, and I'll kick that off with first. Probably the big name here, the big gun of this piece here is the hollow table itself. Now, this is a very cool piece. Granted, I like this. I could have gone without this. I mean, it's nicely done. It looks great. It's I mean, it's a very simplistic paint job. There's a little bit of texturing like right here, but I mean, other than that, it's just a very clean paint job, but I mean, it shouldn't be weathered or anything like that. It's just a table. I don't know if you can see the light when I turn it on, really, because everything's white here, but it does light up fairly bright. It does a good job of actually illuminating the two hologram pieces here, which you can have a look at right here. You get one of Palpatine himself, and then you get one of Anakin kneeling down and accepting the title of Darth Vader. All that is cool. The thing, and I really do like this piece. The thing is that I would have rather seen in this set in particular would have been the same base that comes with the Dark Side Anakin. Why, you ask? Because I already get it with Dark Side Anakin. Why would you want another one? Well, because you can't really fully recreate this epic moment in Revenge of the Sith without having two of these. So I would have much rather had, since these are like the same size, they take up the same amount of space in the box, right? I would have much rather seen them put another one of these as opposed to this table in this figure in particular. And I think this hollow table would have been kind of even more fitting to be placed with the light side Anakin Skywalker figure, because you have to remember he was still, this was his first turn to the dark side. So it would have made a lot more sense for this to actually come with light side Anakin, and especially if you're giving this to dark side Anakin. That's just my opinion. I would have much rather had a second one of these, or I wish they would have even sold these, separately. Like they do some things, like they have like a Mysterio drone you can buy separately, just some other little miscellaneous items like that. I would have like if they're not going to sell that separately, so you can fully do, recreate that epic scene from Revenge of the Sith with them fighting. I wish they would have just, put the Anakin base in with this figure and gone that route with it. But that's just me. So, but otherwise, let's take another look at let's take a look at this, just because it was sitting off here to the side. This is the little like phone thingamajiggy that you get. I don't know what they even call this thing in the movies or anything, but it's nothing too crazy. It is very nicely painted. It's so small my camera does have some trouble focusing on it. But there's some stuff in here makes it look like it's actually metal. It has a nice old paint job, nothing crazy. I don't particular oppose him with that by any means. Now, let's actually take a look first here before we get into the little bits. Here's the base form. You have your nice classic Star Wars metal faceplate here. As you can see, very shiny. And you might be thinking, "Wow, Rob, that's a really boring ass base." Yes, it is. But they did give you not one, but two choices of stickers to actually overlay onto the base. And if you're anything like me, I don't like the permanence of doing that, especially if you, uh, for whatever reason, were looking to potentially offload this, or for God forbid you had to for financial reasons. You don't actually have to adhere these two here. All I do is line it up pretty perfectly. You can get it perfectly sat on here, and then you can just pop your crotch grabber in, and then once you have it perfectly lined up, if you just squeeze the thing down, it does a pretty good job of just holding it in place, and it doesn't, it looks like it's just part of it. So that's what I do with these. Obviously, if you hit it like I just did, it will move, but I mean, to the naked eye, if you use the bases, I tend to use the bases. I don't know why. I just kind of like the aesthetic, even if it's not necessary. A lot of times, I just like the aesthetic of the base, so you can do that. Here is the other special edition piece that you get, which is little baby Luke Skywalker. And again, I like that they included the hollow table, little baby Luke here. I don't know why they didn't just do baby Luke and baby Leia. This would have made a little bit more sense, or if they at least would have had baby Leia come with, like the Yoda figure or something. Just I don't know. This is the only one we get, so it's just kind of he's a little oddball there. So, but you do get that. There's nothing too special about it. This is all sculpted plastic. It does have like a texture to it, but it's just there's no like weathering or two tones or anything. It's pretty much just one solid beigey color all the way through. Then you get obviously your lightsaber hilt here. And this is done very well. I think for honestly, in comparison to a lot of the different lightsaber hilts, they did a really good job of making this one look like metal. It has a very nice paint job, very reflective, very chromy. You do get your cover tech wheel here. You get two of those. You get one that's just for show that you can stick in there. That is just flush onto, pretty much flush, just pops out a little bit like they do in real life. Or you get this extended one out so you actually can hang it on the hip. Obviously, like all things, this just pops right out. And then you can switch into the motion blade. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other special edition feature here. Actually, I'm not sure. I think this comes with a regular one. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, I got this third party aftermarket. I actually got it for a decent price on eBay. So quick story about that. If you ever see something you like on eBay, even if it's overpriced, send an offer for it, because worst case scenario, all they're going to do is turn down the offer, and that's fine. But you can send counter offers. They can send counter offers. I got him into an actual true haggle. And like I sent an offer, he sent an offer, I sent an offer, he sent an offer, and we kept going down and down and down. And then we met in the middle. It was a true haggle and it worked out. So do not forget to do that. I'll probably talk about that more at the end when we do the post session. But either way, so you get this cut up droid, and they did a really good job with this paint. I think they did a good job of making it look like it's glowing, so that it looks like it was just cut by a lightsaber. I think that looks really nicely done. All the little mechanical bits all up in there, I think, look really, really nicely done. And then elsewise, though, it has a pretty decent paint job on the outside too of your standard battle droid in general. And then the same goes for the head. You do get the kind of glowing effect of paint around the edge there, some more little mechanical work on the inside, and then your classic head there. Again, same paint job on the outside, a little bit of like dust and dirt here and there. And then you get a severed arm for him as well. And I normally, you'll see in the post session here, I just kind of scatter these about in front of the him on the base, and it just adds like a nice little effect to it. Gives it a little bit more life, on the shelf. So it's cool. I really do like that they included that. So that's nice. Then you have your lightsaber arm that takes the LEDs. They do include the LEDs right here. If you're not familiar with it, I don't have mine in right now because I honestly don't ever really use these arms because they're kind of more cumbersome than anything. But you just unscrew it, pop the batteries in. That's it. You're good to go. And then obviously the paint job on this hilt is an identical hilt. So yeah, they did a really good job. You wouldn't know it was any different. So be careful. I have heard people forgetting that they have this lightsaber arm in, and then they go and they try to rip the lightsaber out, and then they break it because they didn't realize they had the lightsaber arm in the figure. So always be careful with that. Lastly, you have two sets of they're lightsaber hands here. So you have these. These are painted very nicely. You can see. Let me get one out so you can actually focus on it, camera. There we go. You can see like nice, there's a bunch of veins popping all over this thing. It's a very, very nicely sculpted. And then the paint job looks very good. It matches the figure very well. And then the same goes for the other one. Let me see here. Do they look the same? It's kind of hard to tell. The veins actually do look a little bit more predominant on the right hand as opposed to the left hand. But you tell me. It is kind of hard to see. They do look like two different sculpts, not just like mirrored and then flipped on the other side. So that is that. And again, same thing with these hands. Very nicely sculpted and painted. And these are like a more softer kind of rubber, so you can or plastic, you can move them around and not worry about snapping one off. Then here, obviously, like I've said, this is my favorite included hand that they have here. And then you have the one special hand just to hold the little Star Wars cell phone there. And that pretty much covers it for all of the accessories. So now let's take a closer look at the figure himself. All right, so here he is all out of the box. Let's take a closer look at him. So with this This one was kind of interesting. This is the first time I had seen any sort of Jedi or Sith figure where he doesn't actually have a wire in the top part of the hood. He does have one down here around the neck, which I think I even mentioned was kind of odd with the Anakin figure because I think the Anakin one was the first one that I got personally that actually had one down at the rim of the neck. Because I think Qui-Gon was the first one I actually got, and he only had one at the top. And I think the same was for Darth Maul. Like for both the Phantom Menace, Darth Maul didn't have any wires in his hood, and then the Solo one had the wire in the top of his hood. So it was interesting. And that's why I said off the top they did some like interesting things with this figure that are a little bit different than other Jedi figures. But nevertheless, you can still, and you'll see later on in the video, like when you do, you can still get this hood into some pretty decent poses without the use of that wire up there. So it does still work out. And you'll see again later on in the pose video, there are no wires down here or anything. There's no wires down throughout the rest of it. It's just a loose robe, but it does work and you can get some decent poses out of the lack of, despite the lack of wire in the top, you can still get some decent poses out of it. You can get it to fall in some decent areas. So let's start things off here first. We'll give a quick overview here. Here's his boots. The boots are very nicely done. I think they look great. His pants look good. They match. They're a little different material. They're almost like a faux suede, but they look really good. They match with everything else. The belt looks very nice. And then the tunic looks really good. Now, the thing that's, like, different about this one is he doesn't have any wires down here. I'm fairly certain that every other Star Wars figure I have where they wear a tunic like this, like a Jedi or a Sith, they all have wires down here. Now, he does have wires up here, and as you can see, mine's kinda, like, bent hardcore here, and like I said, I did get this used, so it just kinda is how it is. It just came like this, so I kinda have this awkward divot in there just because that's where the wire bends. Kind of annoying. Now there is Velcro underneath these 2 shoulder sections, so this will stay in place and you can kinda pull it down a little bit tighter if you like it to be down a little bit more. You can push the wires to, like, pop it out if you want a more shoulder patty looking look kind of aesthetic like that, but I normally just kinda round it off to make it fall very naturally. They have this other shirt down underneath here that kinda crosses over around the neck portion. I think that looks really good. It's a very nice contrast with the rest of the colors. You do have a wire in the sleeve down here, which I think Anakin was the first other one, that had, that for me. And then again, on the back, there's not any wire on this part either. But you do have a wire around, like, the skirt part right here. There's a wire going all the way around this part. Like I said, I find that, like, kind of one part odd, one part interesting just because it's the only figure that doesn't have the wires here, but then has them in, like, these other peculiar places that, like, you would think wouldn't necessarily need them, right? Like, gravity can just fall with this stuff, like the sleeve part, and you'll be fine. You know, if you wanna get, like, motion, though, you would need this to have a wire, you know? So it's an interesting choice. It doesn't really bother me any. Down here on the back part, the leather belt portion does have a Velcro attachment as well as the under one, the part of the tunic. Now, what you really wanna be careful of is, like, you might be able to see, like, right here, there's a little bit of thread sticking out. It's it's a very small amount, so it's kind of hard to see. But if you do take this off, be very, very careful because uh, if this Velcro just minutely touches this tunic, it will rip a thread out every time. When I adjusted mine down a little bit, it snagged a couple places, and I mean, it just barely touched it, and a little thread came out every time. You can't really see anywhere where it happened, but be very mindful of that if you decide to do it. You have your little pouches here that they don't open or anything; they're just decorative. Painted very well. These are painted very well. You did get, I think 1 or 2 extra of these buttons if they happen to fall off, and then you have some more pouches here on the back that are painted very nicely. They look like a very, very new, clean, shiny leather. This one in particular looks really nice. It looks really good. It almost looks like it's oak or something. It looks really good. But that pretty much covers everything else, and then let's take a look at the head. So I think they really, really did a good job with this likeness. So the only other thing, though, I will have to say, speaking of head sculpts that I wish they would have done to make this the ultimate Obi-Wan Kenobi figure, And, like, they could have had 2 different deluxe versions, or they could have made this a Sideshow exclusive. I don't know. But I would have loved to have seen one come with a Phantom Menace, like, Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi head, and then a Clone Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi head because he had 3 different hairstyles throughout. I wish they, because I'm sure they didn't do that because they just wanna sell you a whole figure again way later down the road if they decide to make a figure of each one of those. But I would have loved to have seen a special version that had all 3 heads in it, or at least 1 other head. That would have been great. But let's stick to this one, eh? But yes, the likeness on this, I think they did a very good job. They did a really good job with the paint and sculpt here of his beard here. It might be kinda hard to see, but there's just a bunch of different, colors just fading in and out of there. Looks really good. There's the highlights on the beard look really, really well done as well. And then just throughout the hair in general. The hair looks really nicely sculpted. The paint's very nice. This is a single, neck joint, so it is not an independent, but you do get quite a bit of mobility with it. As you can see, you can go pretty far back and then pretty far forward with it. So not too bad. You are a little bit limited because of the single sculpt, from side to side, but other than that, it's all good. Let's go over articulation on them and then wrap this up and then go over some of the poses and wrap the whole review up. So with articulation, his arms are going to go pretty much right about out to there, come down, and then come all the way straight up to about there. You do get a little bit of restriction because there's a little bit of thickness along this side, but you have a butterfly joint in the shoulder, a double bend at the elbow, and then a standard just 6 scale ball joint here. You have, oops, sorry, you had the camera there. You have crunch, and then a little bit of swivel, and then swivel at the hips, and then the legs are going to come pretty much fully unrestricted all the way out 90 degrees, and then same forward. You get little to no restriction coming forward like that, so that's good. Then you have a double bend at the knee, and then you don't get a lot of restriction here, but you don't get a ton of mobility either on the boot, but you do have a standard 6 scale ball joint here, but you get some pretty decent motion out of it. The boots are a little bit restrictive, but not as restrictive as, a one solid sculpt by any means. So yeah, he's pretty light, he's pretty easy to move around. You get a little restriction up in the shoulders just because of the tunic and everything. But yeah, he's really good. You can pose him in a lot of different ways. I'm very happy to have this figure, add him into the line. So without any further ado, though, let's get him into some poses, and then I'll kind of give my overall thoughts and wrap up the review on the Obi-Wan Kenobi Revenge of the Sith Hot Toys figure. All right, guys, so I've got Obi-Wan on the turntable. We're going to take a look at him on some poses. We're going to take a look at him in some poses. I'm going to give my kind of final thoughts and breakdowns, ultimate recommendations, what I like, what I don't like, etc. Let's just get it started. Let's look at these poses here and get into it here. So he comes out of the box with the robe on, so the first pose I got him in is just standing there with the robe on. As you saw, I did get the lightsaber with the cover tech wheel on, sitting on the hip. Simple, and as I said during the review portion, you can actually get this hood despite it not having a wire in some pretty, you can get it to fall decently. The wire around the neck really helps with that, though. As you can see, I had it pulled in, like, tightly right around the collarbone section. Perfect. Standing there, no fancy poses, relaxed hands. It's freaking Obi-Wan Kenobi. He looks great. I like everything about it. Again, I think I know why they went with the no wires, because I was about to say, like, again, I think it's odd they don't have the wires in the bottom of the tunic. My only guess is that, like, Ewan McGregor's, like, in the movie, they were, like, even longer than that. So, like, my guess is that, like, they just flop around so much, they just wanted to get that kind of aesthetic for it. I don't know. As you can see right there, you can do a peace sign with the two-hand point, which is a little bonus feature of having that. But with Anakin there, he looks great. Like, they scale perfectly. That Anakin's a little bit taller, Hayden's a little bit taller than Ewan McGregor, so it looks good. I really like them together. They're in the shelf together. They're on the DTOF together. One of these days, I'll get through a full. Well, once I have everything ready, I'm waiting on stuff to come back in stock. I still have temporary lighting, things like that. But I'll do, like, a collection tour once everything's ready. So, as you can see here, this is how I kinda generally have him in the DTOF right now, and I normally just throw the droid just kinda scattered about in front of him, just to make it look like, you know, a fallen victim, if you will. I like that they added that piece. It's nice. And I just want to hear with the robe on, nothing too fancy, just a nice little don't F with me kind of pose. So it looks good. I actually do like the robe. I never pose any of the Jedis with the robe or the Siths. The only thing I have with a robe on is I did like a kit bash with the second Phantom Menace Darth Maul sculpt. So I just bought a body and then put the alternate hands and gloves on him and everything. And I put the robe on him because it's completely, you can't see anything. So it was like a really easy way to get a second figure. I just kept this pose here without the base just to show that, just like all the other ones really, he stands just fine on his own without the base. Like I said, I tend to always use the base when possible, just because I don't know, I like the aesthetic of having the base there. I don't know why. Like, and then of course, I had to end it with the nice, piece. Is good. I don't know. If you ever just wanna put people in goofy poses, like, he comes with that hand, so it's kinda perfect to do it. But, in the end, I really love this piece. Again, the only thing I just wish it woulda came with the little lava robot thing, because like, then you could just have, like, a super cool setup and, unless they ever do a reissue of Dark Side Anakin, they're just so expensive. Like, I completely lucked out that I was able to get that thing at a toy show from, I bought 3 figures from 1 vendor, so I was able to talk the prices down in a way to where I essentially got all of them for retail. So but you can't do that, like, the Dark Side Anakins, they sell for, like, $650 used, sometimes even loose or something going for that, like, it's crazy, and, like, I'm not gonna spend that much for a stand, you know what I mean? If they ever did a reissue, I'd be tempted to buy one just because I want the second stand. Like, honestly, I probably would buy one, and then I'd just buy the see if I could find a light side Anakin head sculpt somewhere and just pop it in there and call it a day, truthfully speaking. But I don't know, I doubt they'll ever do a Dark Side Anakin reissue just because, I mean, they've announced I was just complaining about this, the other day, and I'll quit rambling here in a little bit, but it is useful information if you are a Hot Toys Star Wars collector in particular. If you follow, like, the announcements and previews that they do, they did the a while back, it was back at San Diego 2019 San Diego Comic-Con. They did, like, a figure preview and announcement of Clone Wars, Obi-Wan, the one with the armor, just like the one, just like Anakin from the Clone Wars that's up on the site now, Padme in the Attack of the Clones outfit, the white one, Kit Fisto, like, the battle droid, a couple different clone troopers, just a bunch of Clone Wars stuff was all announced back in 2019, San Diego Comic-Con 2019. None of those things have seen the light of day yet. Like, the only thing, the Jedi Starfighter, the freaking 6 scale spaceship, like, I'm gonna be getting that. Like, oh my god. So I guess I would have a reason to have that second, Anakin if I do get that, in all honesty. Just thought about that. So um, but they announced all those things 2 years ago at this point, because 'cause we're coming up with Comic-Con's normally in July. So we're almost exactly 2 years out, and you can't order any of those things other than oh, and Bespin Luke, they're doing a Bespin Luke reissue, that was announced in 2019. But there's none of them's there besides Anakin. Anakin's the only Clone Wars one that's pretty much seen the light of day around then. I don't know if, Dooku and Yoda were announced then, but all of those are still waiting on them. It's crazy. But in the meantime, they've gone out of their way, they've done, like, all the Mando figures, those were announced far after the fact because it didn't come out till after the fact. So, like, my guess is, like, Disney just told them prioritize Mandalorian, WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier over those Clone Wars figures, even though they were already announced. Prioritize these new IPs because they're hot right now, so the figures will sell better. So that's my guess is that Disney, because Disney owns Marvel and Star Wars, obviously. My guess is as to why we don't see all those haven't seen all those Clone Wars figures that they announced 2 years ago is simply because Disney wanted to get more money, which I don't blame them. It would be better to prioritize your Mandalorian figures while Mandalorian's on. It would be better to prioritize WandaVision when WandaVision's on. Falcon Winter Soldier, same way. Makes sense. The only weird thing, though, Hot Toys, is why on earth are you doing all these Dark Knight reissues? What's up with that? No one asked for that, and you're barely really fixing anything on them. It's so weird. so weird. I'm not like trash talking Hot Toys. Here's the thing. I want all of those Star Wars figures they announced at San Diego Comic-Con 2019. I don't want any of those other figures, like, none of them. Right, I do have pre-order, Bo-Katan, 'cause she kinda goes with Clone Wars stuff, and then I did, get the quarter scale Mando, but that's it, there's the only ones. I still want those other ones I need Bespin Luke to go with my Empire Vader, like, I need those figures. I don't need them. No one needs any of this stuff. These are first world problems. But nevertheless, let me know in the comments, are you looking forward? Did you even know they had those announced? 'Cause I know a lot of people they don't stay up to date with, like, all the things that they actually have on the site. They just kinda, are more casual buyers, or they only look at what's available. I like to look at everything. I like to know what's coming. I need to plan, like, what I'm gonna need, or what I'm gonna have to get. I need to plan my expenses a little bit, you know what I mean? Because it started off not too long ago, I had 0 Hot Toys. I pretty much got 5 details full of them now. Like, I only do 1 review a week, but there's a lot there. Like, so stay tuned for that. So speaking of which, that was pretty much it. I went on a little 4-minute tangent there about Hot Toys in general. So if you actually want to talk, more like that about Hot Toys stuff, or superhero comic book movies, whatever, watch our show, Honest and Educated, every Monday. It's a podcast kind of thing. We do it on YouTube here, and it goes up in podcast form. And you can even submit topics and questions to the show by emailing us at honestanduneducated@gmail.com. That's honestanduneducated@gmail.com. Again, just like this review, all the collectible reviews go up every Wednesday. And then every Friday, like I said, if you actually want to talk about this stuff, talk about, Falcon Winter Soldier, any comic book movies, more Hot Toy stuff, we stream every Friday, normally around 8:30, 9 p.m. We go for, I don't know, normally about 3, 4, 5 hours at a time. So come hang out with us then. It's right here on the channel. So again, that's every Friday around 8:30. The collectible reviews go up every Wednesday, and then our show is out every Monday. So stay tuned for that. And let me know, were you guys able to pick up the Obi-Wan figure, the Revenge of the Sith Hot Toys Obi-Wan? I'm very happy to have in my collection. I love this figure. Again, it's just the base. I would have rather had the Lava Dude base over the hollow table. I think the hollow table should have came with Light Side Anakin. I think it makes more sense. But other than that, I love it. My Revenge of the Sith collection is pretty much complete. All I really cared about was him and Anakin, so I got him. That's all I wanted. I don't really know what else. I guess I would take a Dooku, but you could fit that with anything. You could do Clone Wars, Attack of the Clones, whatever. You could do that for whatever you want. So I would, or not a Dooku, a Grievous rather. I would like a Grievous. I do want Dooku as well. I missed out on him, but either way. And again, I said it during the unboxing portion. If you're ever looking at eBay and something's grossly overpriced and they have offers available, go ahead and just shoot them an offer. Granted, I've only had it work out in my favor a couple times, but this was one of them. It was priced really high, and then I got it really close to retail. It was a true haggle. I sent in an offer, he countered, I countered, he countered, and then we met right there in the middle of the price that I was okay with. And it ended up being not crazy over retail. So definitely, if you're in hunt of older figures that have now become a little bit more expensive and you're willing to take the risk on eBay rather, send them an offer. If they have offers available, send it to them. Sometimes it'll work out for you. So, and also throw a bid in that you're happy with. Sometimes you get them. I got one recently that luckily, literally brand new unboxed, ended up being $60 under retail. I'll be doing an unboxing on stream. So that's another thing too. Every Friday on stream, that's when if I get new figures in, I do unboxings, live unboxings there. So you kind of get your first look and preview of the figures on the stream. So come check that out. So I've made this review so much longer than it needed to be now, so I'm going to end it right here. Just let me know what you guys think of the Obi-Wan figure down in the comment section below, and stay tuned again every Wednesday for more Hot Toys reviews and Snatch reviews and all that. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, all that sorts of fun stuff, and take care.